care from people who care. Hello, everyone. Today we are here at the Outreach Teen and Family Services Office. We're your podcast hosts, Gina and Jackie, and we are here with Grace Myers, one of our outreach crew members and a current student at Upper St. Clair High School. Welcome, Grace.
Thank you for having me.
Today we will be getting some insight into what transitioning into adolescence looks like from Grace's perspective.
To start off, we wanted to do some Fast Five. So, Grace, what grade are you in and how old are you?
I'm a junior in high school and I'm 16.
What is your favorite subject in school?
I love my psychology class.
What has been your favorite school year so far?
Does it have to be in high school?
No, it could be any.
You know, I was a really big fan of second grade.
Love it. Love it. That's a good year. Do you know what you want to do after you graduate high school?
I think I want to be a child psychologist.
Awesome. Love it.
We have a quick this or that. Middle school or high school?
Middle school.
Winter or summer?
Summer.
In person or online classes?
In person.
We would like to pause and thank St. Clair Health for being our annual sponsor.
At St. Clair Health, we're always improving, building on our commitment to face the challenges of today, making an impact on the communities we serve, so we can be stronger together. St. Clair Health, expert care from people who care.
All right, to kick off the first half of our episode, we want to talk about educational transitions. So, Grace, throughout your educational journey, how many transitions between schools have you experienced?
Okay, well, I was born in Boston, so then I went to preschool there, and then when I moved to Pittsburgh, I switched to a different school.
Okay.
So that's one, and then preschool, elementary school, 2, elementary school to our first middle school, 3, first middle school to second middle school, 4.
You had 2 middle schools.
Yeah, we have a 5th and 6th grade one, and then 7th and 8th grade one.
Okay.
And then middle school to high school, so 5.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
That's crazy.
So how do you compare your transitions from elementary school, I guess,
Yeah.
and then to high school?
So, elementary school to middle school was a big one because Upper St. Clair has 3 separate middle schools.
Okay.
I mean, 3 separate elementary schools that all combine into one middle school. So it's a lot of new people. You don't know anyone.
Yeah.
It's like the first time we've ever had different teachers for different subjects.
Mm-hmm.
So that one was a big one.
Yeah.
And then like middle school to middle school, it's like the same thing. It's
Yeah.
just different building.
Mm.
And then I would say middle school to high school is the hardest one by far because it's so different. It's like everything matters now.
Yeah.
How old were you when the pandemic first started?
Oh, okay. I was in 7th grade. Wait, how old was I? Okay, hold on. So, maybe
Like
12 or 13?
Yeah.
Was this the
that makes
transition
sense.
before middle school to high school?
It was my
Just
7th.
trying to follow.
It was my 7th grade year.
Okay.
So it was my first year at the second middle school.
Okay.
That's
Yeah.
crazy that they do that. I just don't get that.
It's really confusing.
So how do you think this affected your transition?
I think it made the transition from middle school to high school like so much harder
Yeah.
because like our whole middle school, it was like you didn't do anything like because we still even 8th grade we still had like half our classes online for most of the year. So it's like I didn't have like a normal class, like a hard class.
Yeah. Right.
And then not saying I did, but it is a lot easier to cheat when it's online. There were a lot of math tests on the computer. If any of my teachers are listening, I'm not saying I did. But it was significantly easier, and like 7th and 8th grade were supposed to be like, oh, preparing you for high school, but I didn't feel very prepared.
Yeah. So what are some mechanisms that you have found that helped you through those transitional periods?
This is a question. I'm a big like planning person.
Okay.
So like I go before every school year, I get my planner. I like write everything down. So I think like that helps me because I just can see it. Like, I can see
Yeah.
where I'm going.
Mhm.
Obviously my friends, like, wouldn't have made it without them.
Yeah.
Like, it's so good just to have, like, someone to talk to that
Oh,
knows
for sure.
exactly what you're going through.
Yeah.
Of course.
I feel like art has been one for me. Like, I do a lot of different things. I've tried a little bit of everything, but I like getting to make something. It helps, like, calm me down, especially when I listen to music while I do it. It's just, like, helps me de-stress from everything.
Love that.
I know that you mentioned earlier that you want to go to college and plan to. Do you know any tools that you think that you could use in order for this, like, transition to college?
Okay, well, definitely my planning. I've, like, sort of done it a little bit because I did a summer program at Harvard, so I had to do the whole, like, move into a dorm, meet the new people, go to a college
It's
class.
a great experience to have early on.
So
Seriously.
I feel like just what really helped me in that was just taking some time for myself, even though it's, like, so busy and there's so many people. Like, I still took, like, 30 minutes a day, and I would just go up to my dorm, and I would just shut the door.
Yeah.
Be just me.
Yeah.
It was so nice.
I would like to pause and thank St. Clair Health for their generosity in sponsoring the 3rd season of Teens Tap In.
At St. Clair Health, we're always improving, building on our commitment to face the challenges of today, making an impact on the communities we serve so we can be stronger together by creating reliable resources that recognize all of our neighbors with access to the highest quality healthcare, advanced care close to home, and a shared humanity that delivers on our joint vision to create a healthier community for all. St. Clair Health, expert care from people who care.
All right, transitioning to our second half, we want to talk about Grace's personal transitions. So, how do you define social status? Oh no.
Okay, can you, like, elaborate on what you mean?
Of course. I guess there's different, like, hierarchies within, like, high school and middle school and everything. How do you think you would define that within, like, your standpoint in high school?
Okay. So, I feel like, weirdly, in my high school, it's, like, very based off of the sports teams that you're on.
Okay.
It's, like, there's, like, I feel like if I had to go, like, to the top, there's, like, the soccer girls and, like, the lacrosse girls and the volleyball girls. Yeah. It's, like, one season.
Calm down. Oh my God.
Wait, don't you play volleyball, though?
I don't play volleyball for my school.
Okay.
So, no, I'm not up there. And then I feel like there's kind of, like, most people, the people that do, like, the other sports, the people that are, like, good at school. And then I feel like there's a couple sports that, like, if you play, it just, like, immediately puts you on the bottom of, like, the social hierarchy there. Because we've got some crazy sports. We've got the rowing team.
Okay.
Fun.
Yeah. We've got rifle. I think that one, just, like, people are scared of you. Like, I genuinely, it terrifies me.
Fair enough.
What
I think we had that.
our
at my high
fencing
school.
team.
I've never.
We've got some fencing, like the thing with, like, the swords, but, like, you don't actually hit each
I
other.
definitely know, but I didn't know that was, like, a popular. Is it popular or no?
No.
Oh, okay. I mean, like, popular as in do a lot of people.
You know, there's a couple
Not
people.
I
Not to
immediately
shame.
think of the Parent Trap and then fencing in the beginning.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
literally my favorite movie.
Right?
Yes. So you already kind of touched on the next question with, like, extracurriculars having an influence on your level of popularity or social status. But, like, how do you think that affects your own outlook on things?
I think it's
And
just,
what
like,
you participate in.
I think as someone who, like, doesn't do a school sport, it's, like, kind of hard because those people, they spend so much time together.
Yeah.
Like, my little sister plays a school sport, so I know how much it is. It's, like, every single day, at least 2 hours a day, you're with those people. So they get, like, really, really close.
Mm-hmm.
And it can be, like, hard to have friends who are, like, on a sports team like that.
Yeah.
Because it's, like, you can never do anything with them because they're like, oh, I have this, I have that, I have this.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I think it's a great thing. I love playing volleyball.
Yeah.
I just, like, it's kind of hard when you're in school and it's like, oh, nope, they already have their friends from their team.
Mm-hmm. I think there's a lot of pressure too, like, to be involved with something, like, with, like, all of you, like putting all of you into like a sport or something like that. Like I feel like a big pressure for me was choosing which one I wanted to be all in on. Like I had all kinds of different things that I enjoyed to do, and I was told from like coaches or teachers in like each one of those that like I needed to pick one and stick with it because I was like cutting out time from the others, and so I think there's a lot of pressure with that.
Yeah. I have a question. How do you deal with making friends and having a social life?
So
in this like social hierarchy at your school?
I kind of got lucky because right now I'm doing like IB diploma, so there's like a super small group of us, and we have so many classes together that made us like all really close because like I see them every day. They're like most of my schedule, and then like we text all the time because like homework, tests, whatever. So I feel like that's like a really strong bond for me. And then like obviously I have all my amazing friends outside of school. But then it's just really like who do you have classes with?
For sure. I used to love school friends. Like the people you had classes with and you would get really close to for like that year or that semester, and then
I think that still follows though, even in college as well. Like you always like to check with your friends to see who you have classes with, and it just makes your time there so much better. Do you think there is a pressure to look or act a certain way?
100% yes. Like it's just there's such a specific like look to Upper St. Clair. Like there is a stereotype that like we're like the rich school. So it is kind of true. It's like if it is not the name brand, we don't want to see it. So it's like we don't want your like Athleta leggings. It has to be Lululemon. You gotta have the Uggs. It's like there's it's a lot. Kind of like that. And it's like a lot of very expensive high-end things. That it's like
just crazy for high school.
I know.
People.
It's like and like it's your parents' money. Like no one is going out and buying themselves their 20 pairs of Lululemon leggings. I'm not hating on anyone. I do own them myself.
I mean, come on. We all love name brand. We all love name brand, but
and then there's just like if you dress like somewhat different from whatever is like on trend, like it gets you weird looks. And it's just like strange. Like there's such a very specific style. Like what I wear is considered to be like not the norm at Upper St. Clair. Like it's not
like I wear that every day.
Because I like for everyone listening, I have like straight leg sweatpants on. Crazy.
I guess I wear like flare ones. Are those trending still? I don't even know anymore. I guess that's a good question. So like what style wise, what is trending? Like what are you supposed to wear?
So Lululemon leggings. Oversized sweatshirts. Like that's always. The little like UGG Tasmanian ones that have like the border. Oh my gosh. Platform Uggs. What else is like do I see everyone wearing?
The Lululemon like half zip whatever.
Oh, the scuba.
Yes.
The scuba, the divine jacket.
I bought a big scuba at Target. So I guess I would be shunned at Claire for my not actual
like people will look for like the logo. Like if they're like, oh, that looks like
Are you serious?
Yeah, like people like will be like,
that's crazy.
Where's the logo?
That's crazy. I'm so happy I'm not that
So how do you feel that impacts you or your friends? Like, is this something you talk about?
Like, it's like something that's, it's kind of something, it's like an unspoken rule. Like, it, like, I'm not the most popular person. And, like, it's, like, my friends, like, I look at the way I dress and I love it. But it's not, like, what's on trend, what's the name brands. And, like, I can't help but think is that part of the reason why we're, like, not the most popular people? Because it's, like, just because their leggings are from somewhere else, like...
Because really that says nothing about a person.
Like, it's
personality.
Like, I literally don't care what you're wearing. Like, it doesn't... It doesn't bother me.
I feel like I was always told, like, when I was in high school, like, it's not a fashion show. Nobody really cares. I did. I cared a lot. I wanted to make sure I looked okay. But genuinely, like, I used to get annoyed when people would say that, but, like, like, you're going there to learn.
Yeah.
Like, you shouldn't have to feel like you have to be, like, dressed to the nines in order to successfully get an education.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, I feel like there's, like, a lot of pressure with, like, makeup, too. Like, to be, like, curl your eyelashes and put in your mascara and concealer before you go to school. Like, I do it, and I just feel like I have to, or, like, I'm not ready.
That was a big thing at my school. Not so much, like, the clothing or anything, but makeup and hair. Like, you have to have one of those things done as soon as you walk in. So that's crazy.
That is interesting. When did you start doing that? When did you feel that pressure?
Probably, like, 9th grade was, like, it started to be, like, every morning. It was part of the routine.
I think I started wearing makeup in 8th grade. But I knew nothing about it, and I would just put, like, concealer all over my face. Like, I guess a foundation, and I was just like, okay, this works. And
it's definitely a learning curve.
Yeah, it probably did not help with, like, the pimples and stuff, but I felt like I needed to do it.
So how do you feel that pressure impacts mental health for high school students?
I think it just, like, makes everything so much harder because, like, you're stressed about tests and grades and college, and then it's, like, on top of all that, you have to worry about, like, how you look and what you're wearing. Like, it's, like, just adds another level onto it, and it just increases everyone's anxiety. Because you're always like, are they looking at me? Are they looking at me? Am I not wearing the right thing?
Yeah, I think, like you were saying, when you mentioned how you can't help but wonder if, like, what you're wearing and the ways that you don't conform to those expectations, like, are the reason that you are where you are and what people perceive as popularity. I think that's really interesting because, like we were saying with mental health, like, that is how you perceive yourself, and that, like, totally affects how your confidence level, like, on a day-to-day basis. And I feel like it can distract you too, just from, like, learning and general purposes of your school day.
Oh no, I'll be, like, fixing my hair in class instead of focusing on what the
Yeah.
teacher's saying.
Yeah. Do you think there's any way, like, this sounds like a systemic social problem.
Yeah.
And we've all experienced it in our generation in high school, right? But what do you think could be part of the change, if anything?
That's, like, so hard. I've never thought about, like, what could change it. It's just, like, the way it is.
Yeah.
Or, like, if you woke up tomorrow and there was, like, some magical change.
Okay.
What would you want that to be in your high school experience?
I would say I just, like, for everyone to stop feeling like they have to wear makeup to school. Like, and just that we make wearing, like, your comfiest clothes to school, like, the norm. Like, I don't want to wear jeans anymore. What if I just wore pajamas to school every day?
But isn't it so interesting that the one change you would say would be appearance-based?
Yeah,
I just going to school is about learning.
It would make me
and
feel
growing
like
as a person.
It would make me feel more comfortable.
Yeah.
So then I feel like I'd actually be able to focus on my learning because I wouldn't be worrying about what I was wearing and how I looked.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It takes away from self-identity as well. Like, you're trying to figure out who you are, and those things are just super materialistic when it's, like, more internal.
And the high school student, that's, like, when you're learning who you are and your identity. Because I can imagine with conformity, you have to learn that in such a zigzag way.
Yeah.
So interesting.
How much do you think that those social media plays into those influences?
I think social media is, like, huge. I think, like, that's where all of these, like, trends come from. Like, the UGG trend, it started on TikTok. Like, that's where I feel like almost everything does start. I feel like sort of like the get ready with me's, I feel like those have kind of pushed the makeup agenda, because it's like, look at what they're doing for school. Oh, well, I need to do that for school.
Have you seen the TikToks of that little, well, she's a little girl to me, but I think she's like 11 and she's like blonde and she does the get ready with me and she says what she doesn't like her icks and stuff. I don't like. And I'm like, oh my gosh, when I was 11, I was like so not that advanced in my makeup skills and my skincare techniques. I'm like, do you even need a skincare routine when you're 11?
It's crazy.
It's crazy the way social media affects things.
like my little sister, she started wanting Drunk Elephant when she was like 12. I was like, that is a $70 moisturizer.
Which is a makeup brand.
Yes.
Yeah. It's a very, very expensive skincare brand. And it's like, she wanted this specific moisturizer, and it was $70. And I was like, what? Why do you need this?
Your skin is making plenty of moisture right now.
I know.
But for like parents who might not be on TikTok, right?
Yeah.
Or have a good understanding of what it's like. Like when you say the UGG trend started on TikTok, what do you mean?
You see the videos of like these girls that look cool, they look pretty, they look like what you want to look like, and they're wearing Uggs. So you're like, oh, if I see all of these girls wearing Uggs, maybe if I wear Uggs, I'll be cooler and prettier and more people will like me.
So do you feel like it's a conscious thought, or do you think these trends are like tapping into high school students, college students, like subconscious, like motivations?
Like more of a subconscious thing. Like, I think if we didn't all internally care so much about being like accepted and liked by everyone, then we wouldn't feel so much of a pressure to like go out and buy whatever shoes or shirts everyone else is wearing.
Yeah. But feeling like you belong and accepted is intrinsic, right?
Yeah.
Being human.
Yeah.
So do you feel like social media, it's going to impact, right?
Yeah,
wanting
obviously.
to belong, and this is how I can belong.
Yeah.
So then it's like, it's such a two-headed arrow kind of, right? Because it taps into that core feeling of wanting to belong, but then how to belong costs money, takes effort, takes time, and intrinsically creates pressure. So it's like, how in the world do we balance that?
Yeah.
There's two kind of sides.
Yeah. Would you say that TikTok is the most influential social media right now, or?
I would say TikTok, because I feel like that's what people are on the most. Like, that is what I'm on the most. I feel like next would be like Instagram, because it's like your posts stay up there.
Yeah.
So like you can go back and see them like more than I think people do on like TikTok.
Yeah.
But I would say like definitely TikTok. That's where people see the most posts.
Yeah. Just out of curiosity, because I feel like there was a lot of pressure for, because Jackie and I are seniors, we're like early 20s in college. So is there still like an equal pressure to have like a aesthetic Instagram feed, or is that a little outdated?
I think yes, you still want it to be like aesthetic. I feel like there's now more of like the kind of casual Instagram vibe with like photo dumps and things like that. But I think you still want it to be like aesthetic and pretty.
The first picture follows the feed.
Yeah.
And everything is like casual. Okay.
I see TikToks of people being like, this is how you should set up your feed.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, this is a picture of your food. Oh, this one's a picture of you. Oh, that one's a selfie. So it's like more casual, but like still the idea of like the aesthetic is still there.
So do you think that affects like how you view your own social media feed, and then in turn like take that on yourself?
Yeah, like definitely. I feel like when I look at other people's Instagrams, I'm like, what if my Instagram doesn't look that good? And like I'm always like taking down posts or like putting old ones back up or like messing with my highlights.
Yeah, I do that too.
So I feel like I look at everyone else's and I was like, is that what it seems like when you look at mine, or is mine like, does it seem weird or like not good enough?
Yeah, for sure.
Grace, so how do you feel like you have self-identity? Or do you feel like, where are you in your self-identity journey? With all these different, like, competitive pressures, basically.
I feel like I do somewhat have self-identity, but I think it very much comes from the things that I do outside of school and, like, the things that I, like, don't post on Instagram. Like, I do Miracle League and Best Buddies, and that's huge, and that's such a big part of, like, my self-identity, like, who I am. Like, I love to help people.
Yeah.
Especially kids. Like, I just love it, and those are the things that, like, they're not on my TikTok, they're not on my Instagram,
Yeah.
but like they are part of my self-identity.
For sure.
So I think it's more about like what you don't post
Yeah.
than what you do.
Yeah.
And what you don't post is reality.
Yeah.
Right? What you do post a lot of the time, 1% of
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
And
reality.
it took 100 photos to get that one photo that you thought was good enough.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So, I guess the next question kind of has to go off of this, like the trends, the way you act or you dress. But at what age did you start feeling like you couldn't dress a certain way anymore because it was viewed as like childish?
I feel like 6th grade,
Mm-hmm.
I started to like make the switch of like, oh, like these are the brands I should shop at, like this is what I should wear, because like I don't want to look like a little kid anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And what does that look like, I guess?
I'm trying to think of like the little kid. I think it was a huge thing was like where I shopped, because like when I was in elementary school, it was like Justice, everything. I was like Claire's, Target, but then it was like, okay. Then I started going to like American Eagle, Aerie, getting like leggings and jeans.
Yeah.
I feel like that was like kind of where the switch started to happen.
Yeah.
But I think it's happening like even younger now.
Yeah.
Like I have seen some like 10-year-old girls that like look like they could be 15.
Yeah.
Like the style for the younger kids is crazy.
Yeah, I would agree. Do you think that plays into kind of like what we were talking about earlier with the name brands and things like that? Is that when that also starts? Like, are name brands like more grown up?
I mean, I think they are, but I think it takes a little longer for like the like Lululemon expensive name brands to kick in. I think it's more just like, oh, I don't shop at Justice anymore. It's like they're like the kid stores.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it's like moving away from the kid stores, then it's like moving to the expensive adult stores.
Yes. Gotcha.
For that switch for the expensive stores, does that happen like in 7th and 8th grade, or is that in high school?
I think that's like a last year of middle school, first year of high school.
Middle school?
Second middle school, yeah.
Yeah.
True.
Second middle school.
Yeah, and so do you feel like, because you kind of mentioned that you wish that there wasn't as much pressure on like how you look, do you think that pressure to grow up is like part of the problem?
I think it is. I feel like people are trying to make kids grow up like when they're younger and younger, and it's like they're keep pushing to like make these little kids look older.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is crazy. Why are we telling 8-year-olds to like go get Drunk Elephant skincare? Like I was in Lululemon and there was this like, I think she was like 9-year-old girl and her mom, and they were shopping for leggings.
Yeah.
And I was like, who is telling you need these? You're going to grow out of them in a year anyway.
Yeah.
Like, it just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And they just keep pushing it younger and younger. And then I think it's just like the standards. It's like you're pushing them on them, and then they're so developed by the time they get to high school.
And I think social media affects that a
Absolutely.
lot, because when the younger you are and the more access you have to looking at older girls and like you put like, and it's probably like subconscious, like you just look and you're like, oh my god, she looks so cool, like I want to look like that, and so you start to make these changes, like whereas we didn't even have like, people didn't have like cell phones when we were in elementary school, so I can't even imagine what it would be like to grow up with a cell phone and have that much access like in front of me, because I feel like that's why I was still okay wearing my Justice in 6th grade. And, like, my sparkles and my like, you know, and like not necessarily worrying about it so much because I didn't have as wide of a view of what other people were doing. It was just like the people around me.
Yeah. it's just like whatever your friends do. So
Yeah.
like, they're your friends.
Yeah,
and like
exactly.
they look cool, so then you're gonna look cool.
Yeah.
And they're looking at like Alex Earl, and they're
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm gonna look like her.
Yeah.
Like, no,
Yeah.
she's in college. You're in middle school.
Yeah.
I guess I also like what keeps showing up for me is the people or the families of students who financially
Yes.
can't
I was
afford
Mhm.
the high end brands
It
and
is
how that can impact their
crazy.
self identity, their social sphere,
Yeah.
and this pressure of and what that like internal dialogue must be like for them, because
Yeah.
that has to be a lot of people.
Yeah.
There's
Very
definitely a
overwhelming.
socioeconomic like part about like popularity.
Oh,
I feel
yeah.
like just from even growing up, it was always the people with the massive houses and the best
Mhm.
basement that had the most friends, because people
Yeah.
wanted to go to their house.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying they weren't great people also, like they probably were, and they were probably a great time, but it's just I feel like that trend's very common.
Yeah.
Like if you are very socioeconomically advantaged, you tend to have access to more things and therefore have more friends, because you seem like this, almost like this idol. Like I wanna be like that.
And even like the sports things, like it costs money to be
Yeah.
able to play, and then like to be able to make the team, you've got to play it outside of school, and you've got to do the private lessons so that you'll make
equipment.
and then you've got practice 7 days a week, so that means you need 7 different outfits for those practices.
Yeah, it's definitely it's layered for sure.
Mhm.
And I think it puts more pressure on students, and and it plays into mental health, because then you're wondering like, well, I didn't choose this. Like I wasn't like, okay, like this is how much money my parents are gonna make, so like how does that like show my worth? Like
I think it's hard too with like kids wanting a phone younger, because it's like, well, you've got a 10-year-old kid and they're like, I want a phone because everyone else has a phone. But like, you want to give it to them, but it's also like, do I want to give them unrestricted internet access? Do I have the money to give an elementary schooler a phone? It's like,
Right, because they probably don't want the iPhone 3 generation.
Yeah, they want the
again, it
iPhone
all goes
15.
Back to these
it's like the like Apple
item.
versus Android thing too. Like, you will literally be shunned if you don't have an Apple phone. Like, I wish I was kidding. I really wish I was kidding. But it's like, because you're like making a group chat and you're like,
you can't name it.
they're like, and everyone's always like, do you have an Android? And like, if you say yes, they're like, oh, guess we'll have to make a Snapchat group chat then, and then they just make another one without you. Like, it is horrible.
Well, it really just shows how real societal and social pressure is.
Yeah.
Right.
And how it really is a driving force behind so many things.
Yeah.
And it really is impacting a lot of students who are just a part of it. Like, do you
Yeah.
feel like you have control?
Not really.
Yeah, like it feels a lot of it actually is out of your control.
Yeah.
But then this want and need to conform to feel good about yourself and the people you're around is so real.
Yeah.
Do you have any advice that you want to give any other high schoolers, middle schoolers, anybody else like dealing with your transitions as well?
This is like the hardest part. I don't want to give them bad advice.
No wrong answers.
I would say focus on like actually learning, and if you can, I know it's hard, focus a little less on what you're wearing, what everyone else is wearing, what you look like. It's about learning and getting a good education so you can do something with your life.
Yeah.
It really isn't a fashion show.
And having fun. You can have fun.
Yes,
and
have fun. Find things you like to do.
$100. Yeah.
Lastly, this podcast would not be possible without the support of St. Clair Health. Please listen to the following ad.
At St. Clair Health, we're always improving, building on our commitment to face the challenges of today, making an impact on the communities we serve, so we can be stronger together. St. Clair Health, expert care from people who care.
Thank you to all our listeners for your support. We would love to hear from you, so feel free to reach out to us with feedback or episode ideas at podcasts@outreachteam.org. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
The views and opinions expressed in the Teens Tap In podcast represent the opinions of the hosts and their guests. The views and opinions expressed by Outreach Teen and Family Services employees, donors, and volunteers are their own and do not necessarily reflect the view of Outreach Teen and Family Services or the show's sponsors. The content here should not be taken as counseling advice. The content here is for informational purposes only, and because each person is unique, please consult your mental health provider or physician for any mental health counseling or other medical questions. The podcast should not be used in any legal capacity whatsoever, including, but not limited to, establishing a standard of care in a legal sense, or as a basis for expert witness testimony. No guarantee is given regarding the accuracy of any statements or opinions made on the podcast. If you find any error in any of the content of the podcast, please contact us at podcasts@outreachteen.org. Outreach Teen and Family Services, its sponsors, donors, and partners expressly disclaim any and all liability or responsibility for any direct, indirect, incidental, special, consequential, or other damages whatsoever arising out of any individual's use of, reference to, reliance on, or inability to use this podcast or the information presented in this podcast. Please go to www.outreachteen.org to see the complete notice and disclaimer for the podcast episodes.